Recognize and accept reality. Life has a way of showing us the truth again and again. The challenge is that most of us don't want to see it. We prefer the comfort of our hopes, the warmth of our expectations, or the illusion that people will change simply because we wish they would. But wisdom begins when we strip away these illusions and look at reality as it truly is. Not every mistake is an accident. Sometimes people act carelessly, and sometimes they act with intention. The difference is revealed not in what they say, but in what they do. One slip might be chance, but repetition reveals character. When the same words, the same actions, and the same patterns return to us again and again, that is not fate playing tricks. That is truth knocking on the door, asking us whether we are willing to accept what is in front of us. The Stoics taught that reality itself is neutral. It is our judgment that gives it meaning, but they also warned against self-deception, against painting over a harsh truth with soft colors. When someone's choices repeatedly bring harm, we cannot call it weakness or a temporary lapse anymore. It is no longer a mistake. It is who they are choosing to be. We often cling to excuses. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe they'll change this time. Maybe I misunderstood. These may feel compassionate, but in truth, they keep us chained. By denying what is obvious, we sacrifice our peace. By pretending not to see, we end up suffering more than the act itself. We suffer the illusion. To recognize and accept reality is an act of courage. It means standing face to face with the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it breaks the story we wanted to believe. It requires us to step out of the haze of wishful thinking and into the clarity of what is, and in that clarity we find strength. Acceptance is not bitterness, nor is it resignation. It is not saying, this is good when it is not. Acceptance is simply acknowledgement. This is what has happened. This is who this person has shown themselves to be, and this is what I must now do. It is a refusal to argue with reality. Once we accept reality, we gain freedom. We stop waiting for someone else to change and start focusing on what we can control. Our response, our boundaries, our choices. Instead of living in disappointment, we begin to live in alignment with truth. That is where real peace begins. So the lesson is simple, yet difficult. Do not mistake repetition for coincidence. If someone continually shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. The sooner you accept reality as it is, the sooner you reclaim your power. And in that acceptance lies the essence of Stoic wisdom, to see clearly, to live freely, and to stand firm in truth. Forgiveness versus boundaries. One of the greatest confusions we carry in life is the belief that forgiveness and reconciliation are the same thing. We imagine that if we forgive someone, it automatically means we must welcome them back into our lives, as if forgiveness is an open door. But this is not true. Forgiveness and boundaries are two very different acts, serving two very different purposes. Forgiveness is an inward act. It is not about the other person. It is about us. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the weight of anger, from the poison of resentment. We choose not to let bitterness live rent-free in our minds. In this way, forgiveness is freedom, a cleansing of the heart so that we are no longer chained to the pain that was given to us. It is not about denying the wrong or excusing the act. It is about refusing to carry its burden any longer. Boundaries, however, are outward. They are not about the past. They are about the future. A boundary says, I may forgive what has been done, but I will not allow it to happen again. Where forgiveness clears the heart, boundaries protect the soul. Where forgiveness is mercy, boundaries are wisdom. Too often, people confuse the two. They believe that to forgive means to lower the guard, to give another chance, to pretend nothing happened. But this is a dangerous misunderstanding. To let someone return to the same place where they harmed you without change is not forgiveness. It is neglect of your well-being. It is not compassion. It is self-abandonment. The Stoics remind us to live in, and part of that is to cause and effect. If fire burns you once, do not place your hand there again. The lesson is not to fear fire forever, but to respect its nature. In the same way, if someone's repeated choices have brought you harm, wisdom is not to keep giving them endless opportunities. Wisdom is to recognize their nature, forgive them internally if you choose, and build a boundary so that your peace is not disturbed again. This does not mean we live with a hardened heart. Opposite, by setting boundaries, we protect our ability to remain kind, compassionate, and loving without being naive. A boundary is not a wall of hatred, it is a line of clarity. It says, my heart is clean, but my life is guarded. True dignity is found in this balance. The ability to forgive keeps us free of bitterness, while the courage to set boundaries keeps us safe from repeated harm. Together, they create a life where peace is preserved without surrendering wisdom. So remember this. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Boundaries are a gift you give your future. One heals the heart, the other protects the path ahead. And when you practice both, you live with strength, clarity, and the quiet dignity that Stoicism calls toward power of silence and choice. We live in a world where noise is constant. Everyone wants the last word. Everyone wants to win the argument, and everyone wants to prove their side of the story. Yet the strongest voice is often no voice at all. Silence, when chosen deliberately, becomes the sharpest reply. It communicates not weakness, but strength. Not defeat, but discipline. Not every response requires words. Sometimes the act of saying nothing speaks louder than any explanation could. When you choose silence, you choose not to waste your energy on battles that do not deserve you. You refuse to fuel fires that only burn you in return. That choice of disengaging from chaos is not passivity, it is mastery. The Stoics taught that we cannot control others, only ourselves. Arguments, accusations, and provocations will always exist, but our response determines whether we are free or enslaved. To respond with anger is to surrender control. To chase revenge is to chain yourself to chain yourself. To change BT can make mistakes. Check imp.